member of the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, and I have the opportunity to sit down with my friend Jim Siewe. Jim was a founder of the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame, and he is the chairperson emeritus, the only chairperson that the Hall of Fame committee has ever had, and a longtime Fairmont athletic booster. Jim was the driving force behind the establishment of the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame. In addition, he has been the only chairperson of the Hall of Fame committee, and he is the primary reason the Hall of Fame has been such a first-class operation since its inception. Aside from his Hall of Fame involvement, he has supported Fairmont athletics by being a 36-year member of the Fairmont Athletic Boosters, including 2 years as vice president and 2 years as president. Not only was Jim a big supporter of Fairmont athletics, but his wife Kathy was head tennis coach at Fairmont, in addition to being a teacher in Kettering. And his 3 daughters, Amy, Christy, and Betsy, were all good athletes and all homecoming queens at Fairmont. This is Jim's 3rd Athletic Hall of Fame induction, having been inducted into the Chaminade Hall of Fame as an athlete and the Alter Hall of Fame as head football coach. He and Kathy still live most of the year in Kettering, where he has been the owner and president of the J.M. Siewe Insurance Agency since 1987. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Larry. Good to be here.
Jim, you were able to get the Fairmont Hall of Fame off the ground after previous efforts to do that had been unsuccessful. Tell us about the process of getting the go-ahead for the Hall of Fame.
Well, Larry, I met with my friend Rick Robertson. I knew Rick from Wayne High School when I was the coach at Wayne. I hired him, and that's how I got to know him. And he ends up being the head football coach at Fairmont and the athletic director. And I went to him and I said, why don't we have a Hall of Fame? All these other schools do. And our school district is one of the most storied districts in Montgomery County in Southwest Ohio. And Rick says, let's do it.
Wow, and that was easy.
No, it was, and he was very amenable to it. There was several efforts in the past to try to get it off the ground, but from very good people working on it, just didn't take flight. And so we started it, and then the next step was getting a committee together to find out how do we sift through all these wonderful athletes and coaches.
So once you got the green light, I was going to ask you the process for getting the Hall of Fame started and putting the committee together. You just mentioned. How did you do that?
Well, first of all, I had been on the selection committee at Chaminade for several years, and we kind of used their template in terms of to go in the Hall of Fame, you have to have a significant contribution. You had to be part of a program out of school for 10 years and things of this nature. And then we started talking about, well, who would be the people we should put on this initial committee? Because we had to go back to the 20s.
Right.
And we had Chet Roush on the committee. We had Jim Widman on the committee. We had just a marvelous bunch of people. Tim Ireland was on the committee also.
Still on the committee.
Still on the committee. He's the reigning committee member right now, and boy, it was a great bunch of people that got together, and your friend Bob Chapman, loved him, but he didn't love me from the beginning. He said, what are we doing having some guy from Chaminade leading this committee? And after a while, he warmed up to the idea that I was a Fairmont guy, because of course our daughters were there. So
you had to earn your way in with Chapman.
Oh yeah, you had to earn it. There's nothing easy, but it was good. It was a great group of people, as every person has been on that committee over the years has been just wonderful.
Well, a lot of people have cycled through the Hall of Fame committee over the years. During the 26 years you were committee chairperson, Not everyone can get a room full of strong personalities like that on the same page. It's a little trickier than it sounds. What was your secret to developing and maintaining such a cohesive Hall of Fame committee over the years?
Well, I think it wasn't an individual effort on my part. There was a lot of cooperation. There's always going to be individuals with different ideas. They have different levels of understanding of who should go in the Hall of Fame based upon when they served, whether it be as a coach or graduate or things like that. But I think everybody understood the ultimate goal was to choose the elites, and that was not easy because everybody's got their favorites, and favorite sport, favorite players, favorite coaches. But when it came down to presenting people and voting for them, everybody seemed to get on the same page. I didn't say anything in particular that we had to do in a certain way. We just did it. And sometimes when you have a guy like Chet Roush in the room, that's big personality, and he can get a room in order real quick. So whenever I got in trouble, I go, Chet.
Amazing man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jim, what are you most proud of from your 26 years as chairperson of the Hall of Fame committee?
I think I'm most proud of the fact that over those years, we've kept the process pure. We've done everything we can to make sure that an individual that is chosen in 2026 has the same criteria of those that were before them. We didn't change a lot of things. We didn't lower the bar, I guess, and I think there's a tendency sometimes to do that. There is emotion involved in this, obviously. There's a lot of emotion sometimes, but I think the committees have, in general, been able to look at it in a very, very productive way and not letting the emotion take over when they did the voting. And you being on the committee as long as you have, you know, every year, every one of those nominees could easily go in. The competition, it's incredible. It really is. How many great athletes and coaches we have.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of great athletes that are still waiting for their turn.
They are. They are.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk about your 36 years with the Fairmont Athletic Boosters. First of all, how'd you get involved to begin with?
Well, I got involved when my daughter Amy was at Kettering Middle School, okay, at the time, and she was a freshman, and we only had, sophomores, juniors, and seniors here at the high school, and she was on the tennis team. And so she would come over and sit in the lobby waiting for the school to get out and then go practice tennis with the tennis team. And so I said, well, I'm going to get involved with my daughter. What do I have to do? How do I support her? And that's how I got introduced to the Boosters. And that is an awesome organization, by the way.
So she technically didn't even go to Fairmont when you joined the Boosters, but she was playing sports up here, which says a lot about Amy's ability.
Absolutely. She was a four-year player.
Quite unusual for a freshman at a junior high to come up and play at the high school level. Yeah. At that point.
She was very good.
Yeah. Was there anything from the years that you were president, from the years leading that organization, that you're most proud of?
Well, I think there's a couple things that we tried to do over time. We started what's called a parent support group handbook to give parent groups some guidance on procedures and how to do things. When I first got on board, there was one sport that didn't want to be part of the Boosters. And so I met with their representative, nice man, not the coach, and I said, well, why aren't you part of the program? We can't give you money if you're not part of part of us. We'd like to help you if you need us. He said, well, the guy before me was mad because we were promised $100 and we never got our $100. I said, I'll give you the $100. We'll get it to you this week. I'll talk to the treasurer. Will that bring you back into the fold? And he said, yeah. I said, great. $100 got you on board.
Money well spent.
That's right.
Jim, talk about your role as Firebird husband and father. What are some of your favorite memories from those years?
Well, first of all, watching Amy play tennis, she ended up being a captain. She was very good at what she did. Then seeing Christy, she was involved, middle daughter Christy, she was involved with Hall of Fame coach Prizer, was her coach. And that was those fun years watching, and she played for 4 years. And then Betsy, she went into field hockey because she liked the uniforms and she didn't want to play the other two sports like her sisters. And then unfortunately she hurt her knee her senior year. It was really tough. But it was just fun following them at that point in time and supporting their programs and things like that. But I didn't, as the president, I couldn't favor them in any way. The other thing was fun was watching my wife Kathy, who was an outstanding tennis player in her day, be the head tennis coach, as a women's tennis coach at one time. But she gave up the position because she couldn't see Betsy play field hockey, so because of the conflicts. So she gave that up, not because she didn't love being the tennis coach, but she said, I want to watch my daughter.
That's a great reason.
Yeah. Those are good times.
Jim, you've been a coach, a very successful coach, and you've been a parent of athletes. Mm-hmm. Which is harder, coaching or watching someone else coach your kids?
That's a good question. It's not hard watching someone else coach your kids when they're good coaches, and every one of the coaches that coached my daughters were good coaches, every one of them.
That helps.
I never had to have any kind of a conflict with a coach. Now, coaching on the other side, that gets a little tricky because you're dealing with a lot of different personalities, a lot of different situations, and every parent wants their child to succeed. And when they're not maybe the first team or they didn't get the position they wanted, it's hard for the parents and it's hard for the young man or young lady. And so that has to be done, and I think good coaches try to make sure that you're communicating correctly with the player and also with the parents. And that I was very big on communication, making sure they understood. They didn't all agree with me, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But we never had any major confrontations because of it. It gets emotional for a parent. It does.
Without question. And parents,
very emotional.
Parents, and I've been a parent of athletes myself, parents are in no position to be objective.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Jim, this is your third Hall of Fame, each celebrating a different part of your athletic involvement, mm-hmm. your athletic life. Mm-hmm. Chaminade as a player, Alder as a coach, and now Fairmont as a behind-the-scenes guy. Mm-hmm. I'm sure each of those honors is special in its own way. Talk about that.
Well, I'm very loyal to Chaminade. It was Chaminade then. It wasn't Chaminade Julienne until a little bit later. Very loyal to Chaminade. I couldn't wait to go to Chaminade. All my brothers went there. My older brother went there. My dad went there. My mom went to Julienne. My sisters went to Julienne. I had green and white in my blood, and I enjoyed it. And as everybody has great friendships from playing. It's a different situation when you play high school football versus college football, and those are lifetime friendships. Then when I went to Alter, I wanted to coach at Chaminade, but there was no room at the end. They didn't have a spot for me. When I went to Alder, all my buddies at Chaminade were mad at me. So what are you doing that for? And Alder was, and I'm very loyal to Alder. I have wonderful people over there and players and things like that. Then I went to Wayne High School for 4 years, and didn't have the same level of success, but I'm loyal to Wayne too. And so I think it's a total different situation that way. When you're a player and then you're a coach, and now working as an individual support person, I guess you say, is a different feeling of accomplishment, or it's a warm feeling inside knowing that you can help, you can make a difference. And I think I spent 26 years doing this. I was only 8 years as a coach, and 4 years as a player. So I feel I'm very loyal to Fairmont, too.
And you did indeed make a difference. Jim, since I've been involved with the Hall of Fame, you have worked very hard to maintain the standards of excellence that you created for the Fairmont Athletic Hall of Fame. And throughout those years, you have humbly deflected all of the credit to other people. Those of us close to the situation know better. We know how much of this weekend is because of your work ethic and because of your insistence that everything be done first class. Today, at long last, it's time for you to step out from behind the curtain and take a bow for all you've contributed. Congratulations, and have a great weekend, my friend.
Thank you very much, Larry. I appreciate it.